Good evening. It's Midweek Mojo with Jan. And if you're here to find out about how to become a VA or what a VA is and what it's all about, then you're in the right place. So every Wednesday evening at 7:15, I think I'm a little bit late this evening, I come on and talk a little bit about either a business opportunity or something that can create an income stream for you in your for your retirement. So this one is probably more something that you'd want to do if you, because people have different things about retirement. Some people, they think, well, just need the money so I can go and do other things. And some people want to have something to do, but they don't want to necessarily have a job. So if that's you, then this could be an income stream for you. So I will be going through various things. So we'll be going through getting started, and we'll be going through the pros and cons, the risks, the investments, how much money you can expect to earn, which is what a lot of people are interested in, of course, the time it takes, investments, and next steps, and pros and cons. I think I said pros and cons. Anyway, so please watch this now live. If you're on live, make some comments, ask questions. And if I don't manage to answer them while I'm doing this, then I'm sure I'll come back to you at the end. Well, I will do. And also, if you want to know more in more detail about VA, because obviously, and sort of 20 minutes, I'm not going to be able to, give you the full rundown, then make sure you comment VA underneath at the end, and I will send you to a course that you can do to learn, or it's a membership group which you could find out all about in detail how to be a VA. So let's get started. And the sun has now just gone out just as I'm doing this, but hopefully you can see me okay. So VA, what is it? Virtual assistant. It stands for virtual assistant. So you've heard of PAs and there's a personal assistant. Well, it's the same kind of thing, but it is virtually. So you don't actually have to truck up and go to somebody's house or to somebody's business. You can do it from anywhere in the world, which is one of the pros. And it can be in any area really. But so what I would suggest is having a think about your skills. You don't have to be everything to everybody. You could specialize in a certain area. So have a think about what you have done before. If you had a job as a secretary to a legal person, or if you were working in the hair industry, or whatever you did before, is there a way that you can help other people? Like if you were working in a hair salon, perhaps you could offer to other hairdressers to do the booking systems, or purchase products or whatever. So it doesn't just have to be, you don't have to think of it just as a secretary. I was just watching an interview just now with a VA, and she looks really more after young mums, and because she's a young mum herself, which is another thing that people can do. Probably not you're going to be a young mum if you're thinking of retiring, but who knows. And anyway, so she had one friend that was due to give birth any time, but she'd been working up to the last minute, and she hadn't bought anything. She hadn't bought any crib or any baby clothes or anything. So she actually asked this VA to give the budget and said, right, these are things I need. Go out and find me them, and that was her day, buying baby stuff. So it doesn't have to be like a secretarial type of thing. Just it could be, if you can speak a different language, you could offer to do some translations or anything like that. I'm just going to look at the comments because I've not got them up on here. So there we go. So yeah, do say hi if you come on live again, otherwise, or check replay. So getting started, just going to have a quick swig. It's very simple to get started with as a VA. If you there's no big scenarios of getting started, other than registering with the HMRC unique tax reference number if you haven't already, and you, as I said, finding out what skills you wanted to do to use. If you wanted to niche down, what sort of thing that you're wanting to niche down to. So your risks what are the risks? There's not a massive amount of risk, other than if you do something really wrong and you made a massive mistake and cost your client something, then in which case one of the costs that you have involved is your public liability. So you must make sure you have got a public liability. But the risks really are, other than, you can't find your clients, or you do something ultimately very stupid, but then if you cover your liability, then that's okay. Do say hi if you're coming on. I can see something on. So investment, how much does it cost? Well, again, very little. You do need your public liability insurance, and you could probably have a website, and other than that, it's your time. Now, I will be referencing at the end, there's a full blown course you can become accredited as a VA, but it's not necessary, and I will pop that in the link in the comments at the end, or ask for VA at the end. So yeah, the investment is really just your time, your public liability, and any like cards or anything you decided to have, your business cards or whatever. So that is your risk, your investment, and then we'll talk about the pros and cons. So the pros: brilliantly, you can do this. You should be able to do this from anywhere if you're working it right. So you've got you don't have to commute. You can work from home, or you could work from abroad, or wherever you want to, as long as you've got your internet and access to a phone and stuff like that. So it's a very low startup, as we've already mentioned. I've probably mentioned most of the pros already. Work from anywhere. You can get a variety of work, and so if you like change, then it's not boring. You can do all sorts of different things, and in one day you might get all sorts of different things to do. And you can also scale it, because you might think, well, I'll be just trading time for money. But if you are really good at marketing yourself and you've got more business than you can cope with, then you can always find some other people that you're trust and are good at what they do, and you can offer them to sort of work with you, and you get a cut of whatever that the customer pays you, and you working with this other person. So perhaps it might be some social media or something like that. They've commissioned you to do. Your customer wants you to do so many Facebook posts or something like that, if that was what your thing was. And if you didn't have enough time to do everything, you could, because you've got lots of other clients as well, you could use the services of another VA. So you can sort of scale it as well. I'm just going to try and change the light on my thing, because that's a bit better. Okay. So there's the pro. So low startup, flexibility as well. You should be able to, if you're setting yourself up right, you should be able to do your own hours. If that's not something that you are bothered about, if you don't care about what hours you do, and you can leave that to the client. But I would highly recommend that you set out your potential and you have an agreement to the hours and the times and stuff like that when you start. Yeah, so those are pretty much the pros, and the cons, as in what's not so great about it. Retention of clients could be tricky. You might have a difficulty holding on to clients, not because you are rubbish, but because the client just might need you for a certain project, or they move on, or they need somebody full time, or whatever. So there might be a good turnover. But if you get, you might just have one really good client that you work for exclusively, that is working fine, or you might get lots of clients with just little amount of time per client, which is safer in terms of, if you one big client left, then you'd be in the do. But if you have lots of little clients, then you've got more variety, and more, or less likelihood that it went pear-shaped in terms of all leaving at the same time. And then the other thing with, if you have a lot of clients, they might all want you to do the work for them at the same time. So that could be tricky if you're having to work with everyone. Everybody wanted you to use them everybody wanted to use you at the same time, which could be tricky. But again, you'll have to have something laid out that you can, you've got so many hours for them per week or whatever per month. And communication can be tricky in terms of, there might be some misunderstandings in what's said. So you have to be careful that you really understand what they're asking you, and there could be time lapse or whatever. Again, as long as everybody's aware how the situation is, then that shouldn't be too much of an issue. And as I said, the unpredictable workload, you need to be continuously learning. That wouldn't be a con for me, because I love learning stuff. But if you're the same, then that's great. Otherwise, then that might be something that you find a pain, having to keep learning new skills or new software or the way that person works. And of course, you have to do that science before you can start. Oh, I think I got lost then for a second. So, okay, so those are the basic cons. And then how much can you expect to earn? So if you are just starting out, some people would only charge about £10, but I would say that's a small amount, and perhaps have that as like a trial or something like that. Because you can earn to £40 an hour or even more if you've got a specialist subject. So if you're into like a specific area, that's something that not many people would know about. You might be working for having worked with lawyers, so you've got a specialist lawyer legal knowledge, or anything that's specific in the medical field or something like that, where you'd be able to charge a lot more, because your knowledge, the amount of work you put into learning the stuff, the experience you've got, all that sort of thing, you can charge more. And also it depends on the area as well where you live. Some areas there's a sort of a ready amount. You could check out what other people are earning in the area, but don't go from what a secretary or an employed person is going in the field that you're in, because you could use that as a base stamp, but make sure it's more than that, because of course if somebody's getting paid a job as the job, they don't have all the stress, they don't have all the other stuff that you're doing, they're just getting paid and they get holidays and everything else. So you need to factor that in. I mean, not necessarily double that, but you could definitely put a big chunk on top per hour. And this VA that I was just watching being interviewed, she's now on about 6,000 a month. So, and she works about 30 hours a week. So that's not bad really for working from home. And as I said, she has a little one at home, so she can work around that. Very flexible, and she's doing fantastic. So good for her. And if that's something that you would really like to find out more about, do comment VA underneath, and I will let you know there's a free boot camp coming up soon with Emma Cooper, that she will be talking about different sorts of business streams or income streams that you can do. I'm not sure if she'll be talking about the VA one, but also there is a community where there is a accreditation for being a VA, and also a full course, obviously a full course on how to get started with it. But I would say the first steps are to think about whether it's something that you'd like to do, whether what your skill set would be, that you would be, is there something you're passionate about, that you would love to do, that you'd almost do it for nothing, but obviously not going to. But if it has to be an area that you're really interested in, or you're really good at, preferably both, so that it's no point in doing something like, perhaps if you'd been a bookkeeper and you hated scanning receipts in, then you don't want to offer to some, put your offering as doing that sort of thing, because that's not going to be, it's no different from doing it for somebody else or for you, whatever. So you make sure it's something that you really want to do and you're really interested in, and have a look around for the demand, see if have a chat with people, perhaps put it in your social media that you're thinking of doing it, see what sort of reaction you get. Don't rely on that, of course, because that people will be like, oh yeah, and a lot of people won't follow through. But you could, when you go for it for real, obviously you can look at doing some other than social media freebie organic marketing. You can always put some adverts out and advertise yourself in the local groups and stuff like that. But it's a very flexible, interesting income stream, I think. I did think about doing that myself originally, but I went down the bookkeeping route instead. Because at that time I didn't have access to this training that is coming up, or that is available now. So I think possibly if I had been, I would have done that instead. I don't know. Who knows? But anyway, I am currently, one of my income streams is my bookkeeping, and that's another thing that we can talk about in a future video. So I hope you find this useful. As I say, if you'd like to find out more about the accreditation and about the training, then comment VA underneath. And also I have got a freebie for PDF, which has got 5 other income streams, possible income streams that you can do, and a little bit more about all of those. So comment PDF underneath for that, or you can have a look in the bio and you can download that straight from there. So there wasn't any notice for this evening. I've been chasing my tail, so I'm not surprised we didn't have many live questions, but pop any questions in as well, and I look forward to seeing you next Wednesday evening at 7:15. Bye for now.